Welcome to Nourishing Longevity with Elenzia, where we look at smart, holistic ways to elevate longevity and support healthy aging. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe, as this helps this content reach more people to provide support and education. Today, we're continuing the topic of gut health, and we'll be providing ways to improve your gut health and discussing what the missing piece to improved gut health could be. I'm Elizabeth, co-founder of Elenzia, and today I'm joined by our lead nutritional scientist, Alexander Pulowski, who holds a degree in nutrition and years of histology lab experience and practical formulation experience, along with an undeniable passion for food science. So hello again, Alexander.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Once again.
Let's get cracking.
So in the last episode, we discussed why poor gut health is the new normal and what we can do to avoid as a preventative. So let's start with talking about some practical things that people can do to improve their gut health.
Let's start by talking about what things we can do on a daily basis. And so in terms of lifestyle, key things that we can do is be mindful about our stress levels.
Okay.
So we have something called the gut-brain axis. And we probably understand that intuitively, that when we get stressed, when we get nervous, that has a knock-on effect on our gut health and performance. And it might lead to embarrassing issues. And that is a very, very key concept. So if we can help manage our stress. Now, stress is something that everyone deals with.
Yeah.
We live in a stressful modern world.
Yeah.
But finding ways that works for you, that helps you to deal with stress, that can be things like mindfulness, that can be thankfulness. Thankfulness, I think, is so interesting because that activates something called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is calming you down. So when you're anxious, finding some things to be thankful for and getting into the habit of that basically hacks the brain. So that's an interesting thing. Journaling as well. So there are things that we can do, whether we try to do yoga as well or whatever we try to do. There are things that we can start to add little by little, day by day, to help us to manage stress, to help us to really take more control over our mental well-being. And that's going to have that knock-on impact on our gut health as well. But also movement. And movement is great because that's going to support gut health as well as mental well-being. So it's two birds with one stone in that sense. Studies have actually found that our sedentary lifestyles actually increase scar tissue formation in our gut.
Okay.
And that leads to an increased risk of colon cancers. And we know those are going through the roof at the moment. So it's definitely important to, if you're working from home, if you're working from the office, take regular breaks to get up and to move. This is part of our nature as human beings. We need to move. So getting into the routine of movement, if you want to go to the gym a few times a week, that's going to support your gut health as well. That's going to release those endorphins in your brain. That's going to counteract all that cortisol that's built up through the day. So those are those lifestyle factors that we can do and that are going to be a tremendous benefit. But then it comes to the diet side of things. How do we support our gut based on our diet? And it's removing those things that are feeding those bad bacteria. So it's reducing those added sugars, it's reducing those processed carbohydrates, those ultra-processed foods as much as we can, and then feeding those beneficial gut bacteria with that colourful plate, with that colourful bowl. Supporting that diversity. And I think that foods like kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, these fermented type foods are amazing because they're a pre, pro, and postbiotic.
Oh, wow.
All in one. However, I would caveat this by saying that most of the ones that you would buy on the shelf have been pasteurized, which means that although that's safe to consume and,
Yeah.
and we're thankful for pasteurization, it also kills the good bacteria as well.
Oh, okay.
So it's killing those probiotic species. Nevertheless, we're still fueling our gut with those prebiotics. So if you can, make it yourself. If you've got a little bit of time on a Saturday or Sunday to make a batch of something, then you can really experience all the benefits that nature intended.
Okay. So can you obviously mentioned the pro and postbiotics there, but there's postbiotics, prebiotics, and probiotics.
Yeah.
So can you explain the difference between them? Because I think people, I even struggle to understand the difference between them.
Absolutely. So we start with the prebiotics, and they are typically things like fibers. Fibers, those colourful fibers and colourful polyphenols, those things that give our plate its colour.
Okay.
They selectively feed beneficial bacteria.
Okay.
We think about those ones that, bifidobacteria, lactobacillus, those are those species that we recognize, we see on the back of certain bottles in the supermarket. So we understand those. So those are things that selectively feed those beneficial bacteria, and if we're feeding them, then we're supporting them, and then they will increase in number and then benefit. That's the idea. So the probiotics, those are those beneficial bacteria that we're trying to feed with the prebiotics.
Okay.
But they're also naturally present in some quantity in our gut, and we want to boost those numbers essentially. So those probiotics are those live bacteria that we know and we understand make a positive impact, not only in the gut, but in the entire body as well. So we've got the pre, which is feeding the pro, and then the post is the interesting one. And this has been gathering a lot of attention over the last few years. And what we're talking about is, unlike probiotics, which need to remain alive in order to actually provide that benefit to the body.
And that's the struggle, isn't it? Like you said about the pasteurization, keeping that bacteria alive in food or in supplementation is difficult to do, isn't it?
Absolutely. And so that's the benefit of postbiotics, because they can be metabolites, which means something that is produced by a beneficial microorganism, or it's a part of that microorganism. So, for example, in elénzia fix, we've got an ingredient called Posibio, and that is a postbiotic. It's a fragment of a cell wall from a lactobacillus species called the Lactobacillus paracasei D3.5. Anyway, the important thing is that this structure interacts directly with the gut because of its specific shape, and then it stimulates a specific benefit. So the actual organism itself doesn't need to be alive. It's because of that specific shape of that cell wall part that it can confer that benefit in the body. And so postbiotics, the benefit of those is that you don't need to struggle. You don't need to take 100 billion coliforming units of it to make sure that you get just about enough to stay alive by the time it reaches your gut, because it will provide that benefit. So that's the benefit. We've got the pre, which is feeding the pro, and then the post is really taking the benefits of certain probiotic organisms and isolating those exact beneficial compounds and providing that.
So postbiotics are almost a more efficacious version of the probiotics, and you know that when you're taking the postbiotics, you're going to be absorbing all of it, because you don't need to, like you said, take millions of it in order for it to make sure that it's alive when it's still in your gut. Yeah,
it's almost a foolproof way to make sure that when you're taking this supplement, that you are getting the benefit from it. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't good like probiotic supplements. There are, but they need to be designed in a certain way to make sure that when you take that, you're getting the
It's going
maximum
to be
benefit
beneficial
from that.
Yeah.
So I'd advise people to be careful on what types of probiotics they take, and to invest in quality.
Okay, fantastic. With your explanation of postbiotics, it doesn't seem to be as simple as just pumping the gut with pre and postbiotics and expecting a result. Would you say that's fair?
Absolutely. And that's because a lot of the time people are forgetting that the gut itself, the actual structure of the gut, is the home of the microbiome. So you wouldn't send a nice care package from the supermarket with all these lovely things into a burning building and expect everyone to just tuck into a nice meal. You need to sort out the fire first. And if your gut is on fire, if you've got that inflammation, if you've got a leaky gut, this is what you need to sort out first, and then everything else becomes a lot more easy.
Yeah.
Then those probiotic species can actually thrive and make the most of those prebiotics that you're feeding it, and then benefit the entire body.
So fixing the gut structure before feeding the gut with good bacteria. So we want to fix the structure so that good bacteria can actually be beneficial and do the work. Fantastic. So what would be the one piece of advice that you would give to people who do have persistent gut health problems, but they're taking those pro and prebiotics and it's not really cutting it?
An important thing that people need to understand, need to realize, is that, well, in the nutrition world, we talk about the 4 R's, the 4 R's of gut restoration.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be fair to give one tip. We need to think about the entire structure.
Holistically. Yeah.
And the first 2 R's are remove and replace.
Okay.
So remove is about working on taking those things that can be irritating your gut. Now, this might be wheat-derived products, this might be dairy-derived products, and it might not be a lactose-type concern.
Yeah.
You might not be lactose intolerant, and you can still struggle with dairy intake.
Okay.
And that's because most milks that are available on the market, dairy milks, are full of a casein, which is a protein called A1 casein. Okay. And so that is a large reason why many people struggle with dairy products, because it comes from certain cows who have a high proportion of this A1 casein that we're just genetically not adapted to, and it affects us. So removing certain things, and we can replace them quite easily. So, you can have the goat milk instead, or you can have fermented milks as well. So there are ways that you can still enjoy these dairy products or these wheat products by finding alternatives that suit our body. So we can still enjoy the foods that we like. And then, so that we've got remove. So trying to take those things away that are causing the fire in the house, that are, continuing to agitate our gut, that don't agree with us. So removing that. Replace. So replace is the second R, and it's crucial, and I think it's something that our modern kind of pharmaceutical focused life, when we think about, I've got a bit of indigestion, I've got acid, I've got a lot of acid, let me take an antacid, let me get rid of this acid. And what that has done is it's reduced the acidity of our stomach acid, and that has got a lot of knock-on impacts. Our stomach acid is supposed to be acidic.
Okay.
Because that helps it to actually break down the foods, break down the proteins. But then also, when your stomach empties that mixture of food and acid into the small intestine, the start of that gut, that low acid environment that is created is essential to keep certain bacteria back. Certain bacteria needs to be kept back lower down the intestine into the colon. But what happens is, when we take antacids, when we increase the pH, so we're reducing the acidity, we're creating an environment where all of these bacteria that shouldn't be encroaching further up the gastrointestinal tract are managing to come up, and then they're starting to, they're reaching the place that they shouldn't reach, and then they're starting to ferment those things that we're eating, which is causing a lot of gas, a lot of bloating, and a lot of problems like that. And that is called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Okay.
And that's something that a lot of people are struggling with. And yeah, so essentially that is all talking about the importance of the body knows what it needs. The stomach acid is supposed to be acidic.
Yeah.
And so replace is about improving our stomach acidity, improving the enzyme output, and basically supporting digestion so that by the time our food gets through that digestive tract, that it's broken down as it should be.
Okay.
Because when we have a less acidic gut, when we have fewer enzymes, then the food's not getting broken down by our actual body as it should, and then the bacteria lower down have to do that work of fermenting it and breaking it down, and that's causing a lot of bloating and a lot of GI disturbance. So we've got remove, which is taking away those things that are irritating the gut. We've got replace, which is supporting our physical digestion. And then re-inoculate is the step where we provide prebiotics and postbiotics. So we're providing those beneficial microorganisms that help to digest, that help to rebalance the gut microbiome. But then also we have restore. And restore is this key portion that most people forget about. And it's what we mentioned at the start of the podcast, is restoring the home of the microbiome, the actual gut itself. And so once we've removed those things in our diet that are causing the issues, once we've started to improve those digestive capacity of our body, it is absolutely vital that we provide the gut with what it needs to help to fix itself, to help to rebuild and repair. Because otherwise, that environment is full of inflammation. That environment is not suitable, is not conducive to a microbiome that flourishes and that supports your body.
So that repair phase, then, it seems that, like we said, we speak so much about prebiotics and feeding the gut with good bacteria, but like we said, if the structure is on fire, if we're missing that repair phase out, then we might not be doing a lot. So is the repair phase something that you feel is kind of being widely missed throughout the industry? Yes,
and that's like we were speaking about earlier. There's a lot of focus on prebiotics and feeding the good gut microbes. And there's a lot of emphasis on, you need to take X, Y, Z probiotic. But the actual environment itself that they're going into, that's the key. And that's what many people are missing. And this is exactly why we designed Elenzia Fix. When we saw the improvement that people feel on a daily basis just by starting to repair that gut. When we hear the feedback of individuals who have been taking high-dose antibiotics and that really damages the gut as well. They've been taking high-dose antibiotics for their H. pylori and they've been struggling with their gut health, but then they've started to take Fix. And that's been that instant relief that they need. And that's because of the design of the product. It really supports that gut integrity in several ways. And there's three key spheres. Fix soothes the gut. It's got these soothing botanicals like aloe vera and marshmallow root that help to coat the gut and help to reduce inflammation and stimulate that epithelial repair. I mean, we know in the aesthetics industry that aloe vera is such a soothing soothing ingredient for topically.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing inside our gut as well. But that's not it. We mentioned the postbiotic posibio earlier on. That supports mucin production in the gut. And mucin is absolutely essential in the gut. I mean, we think about mucus and mucin when we get sick, when we get ill, and it's a negative connotation. But in the gut is absolutely vital. It is protecting. It's that layer of protection over those delicate cells. And also, it is the place where the microbiome actually lives. And it supports certain key species that benefit not only the other bacteria around it, but the entire body. And if you imagine, as you eat, you've got this food that's continuously coming down the digestive tract, this big tube, and it's pulling and scraping along as it goes down. If we're not continuously producing that mucin, sooner or later it's going to be scraping directly against our delicate cells, and before long it's going to be irritated, inflamed, and then you can start feeling symptoms. So making sure we've got a continuous production of high quality mucus is going to be essential for protecting and promoting gut health. And then the final step of fix is really all about reinforcing the gut's ability to rebuild itself. It's providing those key nutrients that really support the rebuilding phase of those cells, of those tight junctions between the cells, to make sure that they can effectively do what they need to do.
So I guess we're saying that there are some key steps that people can make on a daily basis, like we mentioned at the beginning, about focusing on stress reduction, mental health, getting outside, moving more. And then when we look at the diet, it's about eating the rainbow, staying away from beige if we can, or, what was it, 50 Shades of Beige. Yeah, love that. Staying away from beige, eating the rainbow, eating those kind of colourful, healthy foods. But we could do all of that. And if we're skipping the repair phase, if our gut lining is on fire, if it's burning down, then we can do all of that and it might not be making the difference that we need. So what were the 4 R's again?
So it's remove.
Yeah.
We're talking about removing those things that are causing the issue.
Yeah.
We're talking about replacing those digestive capacities, the acid, the enzymes, the bile flow, these things that support digestion. Reinoculate, which is about providing those probiotics. But then essentially, the last phase, restoring the gut structure itself.
Okay, fantastic. So we're leaving people with that last message, restore the gut lining, and that could be the root cause of daily gut discomfort, brain fog, skin concerns. So repair the gut lining.
Absolutely. I think lots of the time people work with nutritionists and the nutritionist might give them quite a restrictive diet. So they're heavily focusing on that remove phase. They might end up following something like a low FODMAP diet. And I spoke to someone recently and she said to me, I did that low FODMAP and it was just like eating potatoes without the skin and meat. And you basically couldn't eat anything. You couldn't. That's not a way to live life. It's not a way to enjoy life. But if you have to do that, providing something that accelerates gut repair shrinks that time that you need to be so restrictive and allows you to start getting back to eating the things that you enjoy eating.
Perfect. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Alexander. And the last message, understanding how to repair our gut lining and how crucial that could be to our gut health.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you. So thank you for listening to Nourishing Longevity with Elenzia. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and again, leave any comments if you have any questions and we will definitely get back to you. For more information, please visit elenzia.com. Thank you.